Hi, my name's Dave. I'm going to be talking about using the internet as a resource tool and how effective it can be and what the limitations of that are. Just before we start, I just want to see how much everybody knows about primary and secondary resources. So if you just want to turn to the person next to you, I'll give you maybe 30 seconds to a minute to try and come up with the definition for both and just a few examples of what they are. Alright guys, I'll just grab your attention back here for a second. Can someone give us a definition of a primary resource, please? Throw it out there. There we go.
I was just going from my history background, and a primary source was more like maybe a document written about something that's happened at the time. It's like first-hand account, whereas a secondary source is something that might have been compiled later based on primary sources.
Excellent. Well done. Can someone give me an example of a primary and a secondary resource? I know you said a document based off a first-hand event. Has anyone got anything different? Yes.
Well, I was thinking a primary resource is what you're actually referencing, and a secondary is, say, a reference within the reference.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, I like that. No, that's exactly right. But for a primary resource, it's something that hasn't happened firsthand. So an example of that would be an eyewitness account or a document written by the person who actually saw it. A second-hand reference or resource is one that's based off a primary resource. So a newspaper article, etc. So, or internet site. That's the tie-in that I've got there. Alright, this is the fun part of the presentation where I was actually going to do my little demonstration on the internet. But what I'm going to do is get a Wikipedia page and go through and edit the information in that. So without the use of your little laptop over there. I'm stuck just to talk about it. So the way that works is I can go to any, I'll choose Wikipedia as the example, use the Wikipedia site, go onto that, and then log in, pick a site, change the information displayed on the page, save it, and it can be viewed by everybody. This just shows that the majority of the information based off the Wikipedia site is unreliable, even though there are reference lists down the bottom where people do take the time to put in correct information. It can't be used as a reference really for anything. So again, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, again with the person next to you or in small groups, if you just want to come up with maybe a set of guidelines you could use to justify what makes the information correct found on the internet, or ways you can go about finding accurate information. All right, guys, so I might get back to it.
Yeah.
Just when we're ready, thanks. Excellent. All right, I might just move around the group a bit, and if you can give me maybe one or two off your little, if you come up with a couple of guidelines, so just spit them out, I'll chuck them up on the board. I'll start over here.
Get more than one source.
Yep, that's perfect. Multiple sources. Did you want to explain why you think that could be a good guideline?
I often start with Wikipedia.
Yep.
And just get a really quick snapshot of what they're saying there. But then I get other sources.
Yep.
And start to build from there.
Perfect.
And once you start getting enough overlay, you can sort of trust it.
Excellent. Yep. Excellent. Next group.
Oh, we were thinking of sort of well-established websites like government websites,
yes,
and also university websites.
Yep, I like that. Trying to think of what I can put on the board for that. Website extensions, I think, that are right.
Yeah, like you were saying, like .org or something like that.
Yes, I've actually written that one down. .org.edu, .gov sites.
Yeah.
Perfect example, because the information would have already been looked over by someone from the field and can justify that their information is actually correct. Excellent, I like that. Next group, please.
When you're going into something like Wikipedia, it's often a good idea to look at the reference lists they have on the bottom, because the information on Wikipedia has to have come from somewhere if it references it correctly, and the references they've got on the bottom are probably where it came from.
Yes, very similar to this top one. So the information put on the Wikipedia site has actually come from a number of different other sites or other articles or sources. Perfect. Next group.
Yeah, so with credible websites, you also need to, they might be credible in that, but they still might be wrong, so maybe going back to multiple sources to check information.
Yep. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Next group, please. I'll go up the back, because they don't seem to say much. Go.
I mean, I guess we thought more about, whether it's an experiment done a while ago or some historical event, just to be able to critically question whether it was accurate at the time or whether it's biased or in any way truthful. Just more about what is reliable information, but obviously sourcing it with multiple different accounts of the time would be a good idea to start.
Fine. That's perfect. It's how long ago something was done. There could be new technologies or anything else to come and either support or destroy what has already been written about something. So it's best to get the most recent or up-to-date version or opinion on something else. Anybody else? Just quickly, yes.
If you could find out the motive of why it was written, basically like they were talking about discrimination or something, it might be different opinions on different sides of the argument.
Yes. Opinions. They also play a big part. Generally I know for uni especially, when writing articles on things or essays, and you have to reference the articles, they're generally not opinionated. And in your essay, you have to be very, very little opinionated just by talking about everybody else's reference. Becomes very hard with that sense. But for big cases like religion and discriminatory status, opinions play a big part in it, and it's good to see both sides of a story rather than just the one. Just a quick note, and looking back to Carolyn, with guiding students in using the internet as a resource, they've come up with a thing called a web quest, which would be good if the computer was working again, because I could actually show you. But what they are is just this teacher's provided a topic, given you a series of questions, and provided links to where the information can be found. It's not providing the students with a complete, here's everything on a silver platter. It's here's your research question, here's where information about that question can be found, as well as a whole lot of other stuff. And it's their job to go through, read it, and then answer the initial research question. But there you go. So what we've done is establish what a primary and a secondary resource are, and a couple of guidelines about how to go through finding or using the internet as an accurate tool for research. Any questions? Perfect. Thank you very much.